How's everybody doing? Sorry about that. There I am. Okay, so here we are. We were running a little bit crazy. I was in the shower. Is the wife coming? Hey, we are preparing to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Aruba coming soon.
Currently loading.
The is that what it says? Okay.
No, that's what I said.
Oh, hi, Dee.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
So
You,
glad to know your show is still going strong. Yes, so remember the whole jewelry thing. Clavia's watching.
oh,
Hi,
okay.
welcome. Stephen Stahl loved Patty's book. So interesting to get an inside look from at my family's favorite hotel in the Catskills. I think it's great hearing everyone's
Coming up.
story, everyone's story of their memories of vacationing or living in the Borscht Belt. Good evening, Daryl. Good evening,
Hey, Daryl. How
Dee.
you doing? How's everyone doing?
Myrna.
I
Hello there, friends.
Oh, hi, Myrna. You know what's interesting about this is I think about this all the time. If it wasn't for the Brickman Hotel, I would not I would not be here.
Hmm.
I would not be here. The whole story about me living up here started in the Brickman. So I have some fond memories from the Brickman. I kind of did everything in that hotel. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I started out as folding towels,
Yeah.
right? And and I ended up in the swimming pool, ended up at the nightclub, and ended up doing a martial art exhibition. And I don't know if I told you this, but one time I was working the switchboard at night. Did I tell you that?
I'm
And then
sure that was very funny
it,
because
it was funny because it was we used to call her Aunt Helen, and she taught me how to do it. And you had to pull cable, So anytime that because you know me, I'm a night owl, so I'm up at all hours. And so when I was there, I kind of experimented with everything that was there. I went to the coffee shop. I taught some of my friends how to have a kosher, um, what do you call it, tuna milk. I don't know if I was right about that though.
you taught them how. What?
Yeah, because they used to have the matzo during certain holidays.
Ah, got
Yeah.
it, got it. Okay, so
But
they would have a tuna melt on a matzah.
yeah.
Got it.
Well, I had it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's supposed to do that. I don't know. I
How
will
can
ask
you
her.
enjoy that as a sandwich? It breaks
It was
apart.
delicious.
I mean, it breaks apart, so it's not really, I mean, you can have two
Oh,
halves.
no, it was delicious.
You could have two halves.
Trust me.
No, I know, I love matzah, but how can you eat it as a sandwich? Doesn't it like completely break apart?
No, grab it like this. Put yeah, it was tuna fish. Anyway, so I did a lot of things there.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see if I could go and show you. Um, this is my favorite guy right here. That's Patty's dad.
Okay.
And he taught me a lot, and we'll get into it when we bring her on. And of course, this is where I met. These are two of my favorite
Oh,
people.
Joe and Doc, yeah.
Joe, remember when he called the
Bob
house?
Goldman.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he called the house, and then later on I found out that he passed away. But great, great guy. I was teaching him Tai Chi, and he was teaching me to paint.
Mm-hmm.
So that Bruce Lee drawing that I did that fell apart. and it was from his teaching. And of course, this is where I also met Johnny
Johnny
Young.
Yoon,
Yeah,
yes.
he tried to teach me how to play golf.
Okay.
But anyway, and the reason why we had Patty here is because she's the daughter of the one of the owners of the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and she wrote this fantastic book, which there's a page in there with me on it too. So you got to make sure you go and buy it. I don't want to discuss everything because I want people to go and buy the book.
Right.
Right. So we're gonna discuss part of the book, and there's some people that were at the Brickman that are watching.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we during the interview, everyone will make sure we post the link for you to purchase the book, which I just think it came out within the last couple weeks. And then when Patty posted about it,
Uh-huh.
I remember commenting, I was like, ours just came in the mail that very same
Just
day.
that
very
day.
same day.
You know, it's funny. I also got a Kindle, so when we go away, I don't have to bring the book with me, but I will
Mhm.
bring it on my phone and my computer.
I'm actually going to pull that up now and post the link.
Okay. So anything? Oh yeah, this weekend was quite busy for us. We went to see our friends perform, and they blew it out of the house.
I almost said,
We almost got.
what did we
What
do?
what did we do? Okay, so we went to
A few
see
different
two of our
things, yeah.
friends
Yeah, we went to
performing.
see Donna Singer on
Dana
Friday,
Singer on Friday, on the Saturday,
Saturday, and
and then
then
Lumira
Lemire
Tubo
on Sunday.
and you know, Lumira, there's one song that she does that always makes me cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but one day we'll bring her back and could have her do that. No, you think
Yeah.
she could do that song without crying?
Singing into a screen? I mean, I don't.
No, she wanted to sing last time we had her, but you know, we'll see. But without do you have anything that you want to say? Um, anything that you want to talk about before we bring her on?
Nope. I don't have anything to talk about. Actually,
Really?
I
That
really
is
don't.
amazing.
I'm looking at you like, why are you putting me on the spot? I really.
Okay, so we're
don't.
gonna bring her in right now. You know,
Yep.
we were expecting a tornado, but it didn't happen, and she was also. Anyway, let's bring her on.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hi.
I had so much fun listening to you. I'm not ready to begin. I want to hear more stories.
Well, you know, today we just kind of came because our schedule was changed a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because we usually come from the gym, but today we were expecting a tornado.
We were
So
too.
yeah, you told me,
Yeah.
and I guess it passed like it passed over there. So how are you? Welcome
Yeah.
to Tweed Talk.
Yes. Welcome.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. I love
Good to
listening.
see you.
I love listening to you talk about your coming to the hotel and the impact that it had on you. And I know that you were one of my dad's favorite people. And what year did you come to the hotel? What year was
It
that?
was 75. I remember it was 75 because 77 I went, and that's when I officially started coaching.
Mm.
So
And
it was 75, 76, those 2 years.
And how old were you?
How old was I? Was 19.
I remember
Yeah.
going down to the pool and seeing you do your act.
Oh, yes, with Larry Strickler.
This is so funny because I'm just sitting here listening, and it sounds like Patty is interviewing you.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
You know, I was the boss's daughter, so I.
Yeah. So you got to go. And I mean, I did so many things. There's people that
Mhm.
became, and a lot of people don't know, but there's people that became gymnasts because they visited the Brickman,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to teach them there.
Right.
One of them being Scott Porter.
Oh wow!
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He learned the back and spring at the game room. I taught him there. And to this day, Patty, he brought up his daughter so I could work with her.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because dad was the cancer during Passover when you were having tuna melts on matzah.
Yes, that I didn't want to say it, but that was him
Yes, well, look,
that I was
I don't know if a tuna melt is kosher, but if you had it in the coffee shop, it was fine.
yeah,
So
okay.
you're cool. You're cool.
That's pretty funny.
Because you're not supposed to mix milk with meat,
With
right?
meat, right? But our coffee shop, like our kitchen, was kosher, but
Uh-huh.
our coffee shop wasn't kosher.
Oh, that makes sense. That
Right,
makes
because you
sense.
would have a bacon sandwich in there, you know, you
Yeah.
could have a cheeseburger, but you couldn't have that in the kitchen.
Mm.
Or the
Wow.
room.
See, I learned a lot already.
There you go. Because my dad
Hmm.
was a lover of bacon, and
Oh.
Who
so
isn't?
right now I'm a vegetarian, but before that,
Hmm.
when we would celebrate the day of his birth and the day of his death, we would
Uh-huh.
my daughter, my husband, and I would go out for dinner, and we would order ham or bacon in honor of my dad. And
Oh.
or if we made a Passover or a Rosh Hashanah, we would
Hmm.
make brisket or beef stew, and we'd lace it with bacon, and just to honor my dad. And
Oh.
and because we weren't religious, our hotel was kosher, and
Hmm.
but when my dad was young in the 30s, there
Hmm.
was his cousins, and there were a bunch of young friends, and the cousins, they were all probably in their 20s, and they had over the season they couldn't have bacon, and right
Right.
after Labor Day they would go out and they would have bacon and eggs, and they called themselves the Baconeers,
Oh.
and I have pictures of them.
Wow.
I am currently off meat, just
Me
uh,
too.
for a little bit, and but I still cook breakfast for Pete and for my daughter, and sometimes I just gotta take a bite of bacon.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Like, I didn't eat bacon previous to this for about 20 years. And
Mm.
then my body just said, you need to have a piece of bacon. So I was in Florida with my dad, and he took me to this restaurant. I know exactly. It was in a hotel on Las Olas. And I had a filet mignon wrapped in bacon. I
Wow.
mean, and if I ever go back to eating meat, I will have bacon. But the thing that I have not given up is lox. I mean, a Jewish girl just cannot give up lox.
Oh
That is
yeah,
funny.
yeah. That's a good dish. Good
That is
dish.
funny. So how long did you start writing the book?
Mhm.
Oh, I started, my friend David Gold, who I think is listening, um, told me when I was 25. David and I started our friendship in kindergarten, and we're still friends today. And
Hmm.
he told me at 25 that I should write my memoir. But at 25, I don't have a story to tell.
Okay.
And but every decade or so he would contact me, have you done anything? And finally when I turned 50, I started to have a story to tell. And so I started writing the personal aspects of my book then.
Hmm.
And then I put it down for quite a while. And when I moved to Weaverville, maybe because it reminds me so much of the Catskills, like I joke that like my town is a cross between the Catskills and the East Village. It's like the perfect
Okay.
place to live.
Nice.
And I joined I was going to say a dream group. I have that too. I joined a writing group, and I
Hmm.
finished it. I wrote that part. I wrote about everything about the hotel, and I was old enough now to reflect back. Like at
Hmm.
50, I couldn't reflect back, but now I'm 73. I can reflect back. And
Wow.
so it's been a lifelong project. And my friend David has been I don't know what the word is, but he's been the prompt
Right. Right.
all of these years. And then when I finished it, and my friend Alan, who's an editor, and he worked in the coffee shop. I don't know if you know him, Alan Scheinman. He worked there in the 80s, and he edited the book. He was the sculptor on the book.
Hmm.
Very
And
nice.
and then when it was finished, and I had a few, Larry and Shelley read it, Strickler and their daughter, and a couple of friends. Then I sent it to David because David was the was the beginning prompt, and he liked it. And he spent months with me helping me refine it. And he's an author and a historian and a lawyer, so he had good comments and thought-provoking questions. So it's actually been a lifelong project.
Right, right. I started to read it, you know, and I think I was up 4 o'clock this morning. I couldn't put it down.
Well, thank you.
We're not going to go over everything, but because, like I said, I want people to go
Yes,
back.
thank
If we go everything, then I heard the book, but there's the book.
thank you. Here, I'll match you. And then one of my friends was making license plate at bar mitzvahs and places, so he made this for me years ago.
Very cool.
It's a license plate.
I was looking for a shirt that I had, that has Hotel Brickman on it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
That's
me
why
too. I have one someplace here too. I don't know where it is.
There's a place that makes them.
I know. What's his name? Stephen Gold does.
Oh, that's who it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I got my new one, but I couldn't find it.
I have the original. And Larry sent me a lifeguard shirt that says.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have to find them. I don't know where they are. So.
Were you a lifeguard, or you were just?
I was not a lifeguard, but I would tell people to get out of the pool.
Well, there you go.
That's part of the job.
At night, I used to go into the pool, and I actually met Bob Goldman in the pool, and because he was a lifeguard and he did some diving. Anyway, Larry asked him to do some diving. So that was fun. Okay, let me see. We have some people saying hello here. Myrna, okay.
We announced everyone. I just have a question. So there's so much buzz around. Oh, that doesn't sound good. There's so much buzz around this Borscht Belt Museum that is opening. They had soft openings. They've had events and things like that. So what does that mean for someone like you, Patti? You have now this book you've written, and being a part of the Catskills. What does that mean for someone like you?
Oh, that's a good question. So I have a lot of thoughts on it. It thrills me because we sold the hotel in '86, so that was, I don't know, a lifetime ago. I think it's 36 years. So I've spent 36 years in the hotel and 36 years out of the hotel, something like that. And so 36 years later, I didn't think that people would be interested in the Catskills or in the Brickman. And that's not true.
Right.
So that astonishes me, and it really thrills me. It bewilders me. And Facebook, I don't know how much Facebook has to do with it, but every day there's questions. Where did you go? Where did you get an egg cream? Where did you get this?
Yes.
And so it thrills me. It brings me joy. I mean, a place that I got to call home touched so many people, millions of people's lives. So I love that aspect of it. And one of the reasons I wrote my book, I didn't realize that until I finished it, was because the story being told is incomplete. And it tells the story of guests that come to the Brickman or Concord or any of the other hotels, or families that come less about families that come to the bungalow colonies and what their summers were like. It tells some of the stories, but not enough of it, of the staff at the hotel. And so it tells the stories of waiters and busboys, but it's not telling the story of people that we didn't see. And I wanted part of my book to be the story of people that we didn't see. And I have one chapter, called I Wish I Knew His Name, because, I was a spoiled little kid. I grew up in a hotel. I was the boss's daughter. I didn't know anything. And then my father gave me this job as the steward. And, I got the job because I was the boss's daughter. And I got my only qualification, and I wasn't qualified. And so I made a myriad of mistakes. You can ask any one of the waiters from those years, they'll
Mhm.
tell you how much I yelled at them. And my father sat with me and mentored me and taught me. And then as I write in the book, I had to learn how to manage 100 men
Mhm.
through the feminine. But I
Mhm.
wanted that story also to be about the men and women who came to work at the hotel as gardeners and busboys and maids and handymen and pot washers and dishwashers, and had jobs that weren't visible. But none of these people who had these vacations could have
Mhm.
had this without the hard work and sacrifice that these people made. and
Right.
and I want that to be told also,
Mhm.
or you came to the hotel, like that's such a great story. Or, the Loarcas came to the hotel, and,
Mhm.
they became part of our family. So it's
Right.
basically, one of the things. And so I want the museum and I want my book to give the full story of Christians who grew up in South Fallsburg, or what
Mhm.
was our life like. In the last week, I had several phone calls from people who I grew up with, and they said, "Oh, thank you for walking me home again." And
Mhm.
so that story needs to be told, because we, in a sense, are the foundation of people's vacation. And in my opinion, if you don't understand the vacation, you don't understand the complexity of what
Mhm.
it's like. And it was, my father had to get up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning if everything went well.
Mhm.
Murray was out there until midnight or 1 o'clock. It was a lot of work.
Mhm.
And the piece on Other Voices that Murray talks about is how complicated this is. I mean, one of the reasons we sold the hotel was because Murray was ill. But the other reason is, and it started like my grandfather started this insurance company in Woodridge, New York, because I guess it was in the 1930s or whatever, Jews couldn't be insured. Like the
Mhm.
insurance companies wouldn't insure Jews. So the
Wow.
homeowners and whatever, the hotel owners went and formed the Associated Mutual Insurance Company. To this day, is a big insurance company in Woodridge, and my father and grandfather were president on it. And there,
Wow.
so and he won, and so one of the reasons also we had to sell is because of the insurance.
Mhm.
It was, the building was old. It was very hard to get fire insurance, if not impossible. The in July 4th, the insurance was due. And every year it was so stressful. And these are stories that have nothing to do with Freddie Roman or Mousy Lawrence.
Right. Right.
So I guess what I'm saying is I want not the underbelly, but the foundation of
Right.
how these hotels were run, what it was like as a family business and all the trauma. But, just waking up in the morning and the boiler is burnt down,
Right.
yeah, or the head chef is drunk, or the baker didn't show up, like people would say to me, "Why are you so patient with the chefs?" And I said, "I can't cook kosher food for 600-700 people. I can't boil water to this day." So that's kind of like, if they were to ask me, I would encourage them to expand on their view of the Catskills. And I
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for those stories to be told. Everyone's voice should be heard.
correct,
Even
correct,
if it's after they're gone or whatever. But when these stories of the people like you guys who came through the hotel, and you saw like some of the, like, what happened behind the scenes, like you're saying,
right.
things go wrong, or the issues like with the cook or whatever. So I think it's really valid that those stories are being
Yeah,
told.
and so that was one of the reasons I didn't realize it while I was doing it, because
Right.
it, but just the locals, like all of the locals were not Jewish, you
Mm.
know,
Right.
there. And one of my friends who's Black. He's about 10 years younger than me. He said he didn't feel racism until he went to college. So this
Wow.
to be looked at is that, like, how did that happen? Did it happen? Is he, if that's true, what made us special? Or if it's not true, how did he feel that way? A lot of my friends weren't Jewish. They were Christian. And how did that feel to them? What was it like for Spanish people who were living there, for rich people, for poor people? It's a much more complex story than roast chicken and Jackie Mason.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. Let me see.
Anne Marie has a comment. She says, my entire family at one point all worked at the Granite. We were treated like family. All people were loved and cherished.
Great. I love hearing that.
Mm-hmm. What was your experience like, though?
My experience was different because I was a little bit naive when I got there, and then everybody loved me.
And yes.
Everybody loved me, and they let me do things that supposedly I wasn't supposed to be able to do. And, well,
Well, you told me a story that you jumped in the pool or whatever, and you were swimming with the guests, and then the people told you
somebody
that
complained that you're not supposed to be doing that with the guests.
Yeah.
And they let me do it.
Yeah, I mean,
let me do it. There was a little kid talking about innocence, because some people take everything is racist, But there was a kid that came, and me and Valentina were performing there, and we were doing tumbling and things like that. He said, so Valentino's light skin, of course. So then I was there, and a little kid came and said, you two are brothers? I said, yes, we are. And he said, how come you look darker than him? And I said, because I was born at night. So we had a big laugh, and he wasn't like, oh my God, racist.
Right,
the kid didn't know. She was a little girl, maybe 5, 6 years old, and she was curious about it, So we just did it with a joke, and that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, people got too serious now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I did go into the pool, and then my brother actually had to take me out.
So why did he have to take you out?
Because I caught a cramp in the pool. I couldn't swallow it. So he had to take me out. That was one time, but yeah.
But you had a good 2 years at the hotel, didn't you?
Yes, it was a good 2 years. I was very popular.
Yes, you were.
Popular with some of the ladies, and that got me in trouble.
You and so many other people.
Yes.
You know what's very interesting, though, when I hear him talk about his hotel days, like, you would swear he was going for year after year after year, like multiple years. But there's so many stories and so many things that he tells me. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I was there for 2 summers. Like, 2 summers, that's it? So much went on.
But I used to come back and visit, because I went back to see Ben. And then after the hotel was, after we used to have lunch the Gourmet Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we used to have lunch there.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. That's so great. And you're still friends with Bob Goldman?
Yes. Every year we see him every year.
Wow.
At least once, but sometimes twice a year.
Sometimes twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we talk every year.
That's
fantastic. So let's talk about a little bit about the book, and then we go back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ruby's awesome. And I know what you wanted to talk about, the cast of characters. Starting with
that is chapter 7 in the book.
Chapter 7, yeah. With Joel, you and Joel Rich.
Joel Rich, yeah. He was so I'm an only child, and Joel was an only child, so that made, so we were, we bonded, and but it was me and Joel and Jeffrey Wallach, whose dad at the time was the director of activities, and my cousins. My father had a sister, Bibi, and she had 2 kids, Nina and Chi-Chi, and they were up there every summer. So it was us that were there from July to Labor Day. And so we sort of were the hotel brats. I mean, I was the brattiest of them. Although I think my cousin Chi-Chi was brattier than me. Tell her I said that. And what was interesting, because I had asked other people to write, I asked you, and Larry Strickler's kids went to day camp at the hotel the same way I did, and we had identical experiences. And my daughter had identical experience. But Joel was special, and he was at the hotel until I was about 16, as was Jeffrey. And Jeffrey and I, as I said, his dad was the director of activities. We've reconnected in the last 2 years, and we've spent a lifetime together. It's amazing. We just started to talk, and he's one of the few people left who knew Chubby, who was the biggest cast of characters. I mean, I have never in all these years met a man that was funnier. And I a lot of people and a lot of comedians, and bar none. And I posted, obviously I've been posting a lot about the book, and one of the people who responded was Chubby's cousin.
Wow.
Right? So going back to Joel, but we just had fun, and as we were teenagers, he taught me how to do the cha-cha, and his mom, and I write a lot about his mom, and not the most friendly way, but his mom and my mom were good friends, and they would have a drink every night before at 5:00, which I did all through the pandemic with my girlfriend. So maybe I shouldn't have been so judgmental, but I was. And then Joel and I were 2 weeks apart. And when we were 21, he was killed in a car accident. And yeah, he was a vegetarian, and he was driving in Florida, and he had a crate of mangoes in his back seat, and he got into an accident in the crate of mangoes. And so that was my first lesson, that life is to be enjoyed because it's so fragile. And then I remember it was really a hard time. When you're 21, you're not supposed to lose anybody. That's that.
Right.
And then one of Joel's friends at the time, when we were 21, his name is Arnie Khan. He contacted me, and we spoke on the phone a lot in those months, and we helped each other heal, and then never heard from him again. And then on Facebook about 3-4 months ago, somebody named Arnold Cohen.
Okay.
It was Arnie Khan. I couldn't believe it. I mean, we just came back together. But I never missed one of Joel's birthdays. I always have a little remembrance. But he was one of my best buddies growing up.
That is wonderful.
But now I have Jeffrey to kind of, continue the life with me.
Wow. So this is another comment from Anne Marie. She said her whole family worked at the hotel, but this is like, so she says, my dad was security, mom was a babysitter, younger sister babysitter, her brother was a bellhop, and so dad was security, and she said she was the hostess of both nightclubs. She was the assistant director in activities. That's wonderful.
That's fantastic. I hope she has very good memories.
I find it very important for us, because I really didn't grow up during that period, but I know so much about it that, it's because it's all a part of the culture of growing up in this area, in Sullivan County, in the Borschteville. And I just think it's really important to let children, grandchildren know that are growing up in this area. It's such rich, so full of culture. Yeah. We were at the Eldred Preserve. I almost said the Eagles Nest. We were at the Eldred Preserve yesterday.
I'm jealous.
And we, when we were leaving, we were just looking at the posters in the hallway of all of the different faces that had come through there, performers, people that worked in the kitchen. And it was just, and I remember saying to my husband, I'm like, wow, there is so much culture in this county.
Yes. And that was another reason that I wanted to write the book, because each of us, like I've been in touch with many people in the last couple of weeks that grew up in Fallsburg, or, Bruce Terriansky from the Browns, and we are a piece of Jewish American history.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And that too needs to be preserved.
Yep.
Right, right.
That was one of my goals, of doing the book.
Well, I think he achieved it with the book.
For those that just joined us, I just reposted the link. I posted it earlier, and it's kind of lost in
Thank
the
you,
comments.
Maggie.
So I just reposted it. I want to ask about the photo in the very beginning of the book. Such a great family photo.
Oh, isn't that? I love that photo.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
To say I love. I have it right here. I love that photo.
Mhm.
And when my dad passed away, which was in 2008, my father never gave anything away. I mean, I used to, when I ran the kitchen, that we had a big room downstairs where there was just hundreds and thousands of dishes that could never be used again. And
Mhm.
and it was cluttered, and I can't stand clutter. And so I gave it away because they were all usable. I gave it away to one of the places up there that were not for profit that help young people. My father to this day never knew I mean, he's passed away, but he never knew in his whole lifetime that I gave that room away. I mean, and
Wow.
then we had two huge buildings, the Villa Royal and the Villa Grand, which were 10 rooms down a long hallway. So it was enormous. And down in both of those buildings, there were lawnmowers and just things that were broken and he could never throw it out. And when the ashram bought the hotel, they threw it all out.
Wow.
After my father passed away, make a short story long. After my father passed away, I went through all of his documents, and that's where I found not only
Oh,
that picture, but I found the original deed to the hotel, and I found
Oh
all
my
the original
God.
certificates
wow.
going back with everybody's handwriting on them. My
Oh my
grandmother,
gosh.
Brickman. Yeah. So there is a good thing of not throwing some things away, but
How cool
Yes,
is that? Don't you look at me.
yes. My Brickman shirt.
Don't you look at me. Pedro is the same exact way. Just you like to keep a lot of things, and I am
Yeah, I had the
not
me-
like that.
I had the menu from the Brickman, so because my name was on it, that I was
You
performing in
were
the
on the
afternoon.
menu?
oh,
Yes,
sick. Will you take a snapshot and send it to me?
yeah, it's on your page on Summer at Brickman. I
Oh, okay,
posted
I'll
it
look
there.
for it.
Yeah,
I'll look for it.
so yeah, I have that someplace, but I take another picture and send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm glad you didn't throw that away.
No, no, and I didn't throw your shirt away. I promise. I just don't know where it is. Um,
So
I'm
we
with
have continue from chapter 7. You want to
chapter
read the
six.
back? The back?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna read as to not give everything away. I
Yeah,
should say.
she's good at
I'm
this.
gonna read.
She's a professional.
I'm gonna read what's on the back of the book
Thank
for
you.
our
Thank
viewers.
you.
She does this for a
Do
living.
you want me to read both here and here?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Patti Posner resides in Weaversville, North Carolina, with her husband, artist Yossi Daboosh, and their two rescue dogs. She spent the first 36 years of her life living and working at the Hotel Brickman in South Fallsburg, New York. Much has been written about the Catskill Mountains resort experience as enjoyed by untold numbers of first and second generation Jews who in the early part of the 20th century had been shut out of many other resorts because of anti-Semitism. While the hotels were indeed as wonderful as many novels and histories describe them, this book is different. It tells a sometimes piercingly honest story of the family that ran the Brickman, one of the most successful Catskills resorts. It is a tale of blood ties strained by a sometimes ruthless business, explosive secrets, sex, and drugs. But this whole story also is about deep familial love, hard work, commitment, and a winding path to self-knowledge. Patti Posner, daughter of one of the two brothers who own the hotel, reveals and thus preserves the day-to-day life and inner workings of this now vanished world of hospitality, along with the human story behind it all.
I told you it was good.
That is,
Well, we're not going to talk about the sex.
Well, I have one chapter in the book, which is not sex, called Quaaludes and Matzo Balls.
oh, okay.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Okay. Yeah, we can let, I just, do tell.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can tell this story. So I mean, we used to have signs like in the basement of the kitchen that said no pot smoking here,
Uh-huh.
and all of that. And it was. I started in '76, and everybody was young, men, women, and
Hmm.
it was sex and drugs.
Right.
And so each waiter would on Friday nights would come in and oh, thank you, Daryl, and would come in and pick up a tray of 30 matzo ball soups.
Hmm.
And they would take the 30 matzo ball soups into the kitchen, give them out to all the guests, and then come back for their roast beefs. So one young man, in the kitchen, I don't know if you remember, there was a pink flamingo table, and I was sitting there,
Right.
and one of the young men comes walking by, and he's stoned on Quaaludes, and he melts right in front of me and in front of my father and in front of his father. And the matzo balls, like a rainstorm with hail,
Oh my God.
down like this and all over the floor. And he just melts along with the soup. So we
Hmm.
picked him up, walked him out. I got a busboy that was there, picked up 30 soups and took them out. But, these were things that happened. You just,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're working with young people, and I was young then too,
Hmm.
you
I had,
you blink and then you move on. I mean, I saw, I knew what everybody was doing, but I would blink and move on. If you did a good job, you could do just about anything if you really took care of our guests.
Yeah.
And I have to say, almost all of our staff took really good care of our guests.
yes, they did. I tell you, I had an experience like that. I never done drugs. I never did drugs, but I was raised on a neighborhood where that was happening all the time. So I'm not going to mention his name out of respect, but there was a musician that we uh, that he overdosed, and I didn't know what to do, but I saw people in the Bronx doing this, so I grabbed him and I started walking him back and forth like they do back in the Bronx, and he survived.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
to that, for a long time after he saw me, he since passed away, but for a long time, every time he saw me, he said, "He saved my life. He saved my life."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that happened right down on the corridor when we used to go from the hotel to the nightclub.
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
know exactly where. With
yeah,
all the photos of all the
yes,
entertainers
all
on
the
the wall.
entertainment.
Exactly. I know I probably know who it is too. But that
I'll
was,
tell you later.
yeah.
Mhm.
But that was part of the coming of age story of young
Mhm,
people coming to work, and having no parents around, and experimenting. And
mhm,
that was just part of it. And I have to say, for the most part, not everyone, but for the most part, everyone really succeeded. And like several people have told me that working as a waiter was the best life lesson, better than college. Because if you can work hospitality, and you can have, like, people used to say to me, well, how come you can be so nice to some of these people when they like their meat is too cold, their steak is too rare, their this is too that. And I said, you know what, you see this sweater? They bought me this sweater. I'm very happy.
Wow.
I have the sweater theory of business.
I mean that was the best type of work to do because when I went there, I didn't have to spend a cent.
Mhm.
I had room and board, so I would eat there. So I
Right.
put everything away during the summer.
That
I
hole
would
in your
say
mattress, right?
didn't have to spend a thing. Yeah,
The hole in
exactly.
your mattress.
Right. So I
And
put
you had a good
everything
time.
away.
And you
And
had
that's how I was saying,
friends, right? I
yeah,
say, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I said, and you had a good time and made friends.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, I made a lot of friends. I mean, some of them are still friends,
I know.
you know, like Dr. Bob, for example.
I
Yes.
love this picture of Mr.
Isn't
Young.
isn't that a great photo?
It's so nice. The editing of the book, just the construction of the book is just
It's
really,
beautiful.
No, thank
really,
you.
really great. Really great.
Thank you.
Did you Anne Marie has a comment. Did you kosher the hotel for what is that? How do you say that?
Yes.
Pesach?
Yes. For Pesach. For Pesach is Yiddish for or Hebrew for Passover. Yes, we were kosher all year round, but we were more kosher for Passover.
Right, right, right. That's when I ate the matzo with it.
And for Passover, all of that, because I ran the kitchen, so I did all the ordering. So we would order like 30 cases of matzah, and we'd have to double the cases of prune juice that we had.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Produce.
What? That's a thing? That was a thing?
Yes, okay.
A little prune juice.
Oh
And
my
you thought
gosh.
it's just you.
Oh my gosh. I don't drink. Oh, the matzahs. The matzahs.
The
Yeah.
matzah. It's the matzah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even supposed to eat matzah because I can't have gluten, but just spread a little bit of butter on it. Just
They make gluten-free matzah.
they're not as good.
They are not as good.
I would just rather gluten myself and eat the real one. I'm like, it's not the same. It's not the same.
I understand.
Yeah. I learned so much. There was one of the maitre d' from the dining room, that he came and they were all educating me about things. And one of the things, like people say, you so wise, you got all this wisdom. There was a drunk guy in the Brickman that recommended this book. Right? I don't know if I think I told you that story. He recommended this book. His name was George, and he was security.
Uh-huh.
And he loved the way I think, because back then I was reading the book Zen. So I sounded like a fortune cookie most of the time.
Right. I remember.
Still does.
So then he said, read this book, because I was, at the time I was creating this martial art that was different. And he said, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, read that book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recommended that to some of my gymnasts, and he changed their life.
Oh, I'll have to read it. I don't think I read it. Tell me the name.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Okay.
It's a little book, but it was great insight. And every time my gymnasts were having trouble, mentally, I would give him that book. And, Rachel was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rachel was one. So my first team, they were all Jewish.
Huh.
Except for one.
My whole entire, except for one, and she was half Jewish.
That's so funny, but it's so true.
Yeah, it's true.
So
You're
true.
you're in the Catskills.
Right.
Exactly.
You're in. Notice that I only use the word Catskills. I never use the terminology Borscht Belt.
Yeah, I know you don't like that terminology.
And I don't like it. I don't like it. But I wrote this letter to whatever, and my part of my argument was that we had borscht on the menu every day for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And if 5 people ordered it, it was a lot. So borscht was just a tiny little sliver, like I said in the beginning. Borscht was just a tiny little sliver of the experience.
Right.
And so for me, Catskills says the entirety, and Borscht Belt says a part of it, definitely a part of it.
The dog agrees.
I'm sorry?
I said the dog agrees.
The dog agrees. Yes, that's Luna. My little lunatic. So that's why I don't like it. I don't think it's expansive enough.
Mm.
And nobody ordered borscht or shav.
I am as I flip through the book, there are just some really amazing photos. When you guys, after you order this book, you'll just flip through the photos. It just really amazing photos. That one photo is it says it's your parents' wedding
Hmm. Right.
on June 6, 1937.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice photo in there.
Yeah. My daughter is making me a website, which will be up and running soon. And my goal is I cannot begin to tell you what stuff I have from the hotel. I'm sitting here looking at two, they're enormous. These are two, just from World War II.
Oh my gosh.
And these were my Uncle Murray's, and his niece, my cousin, sent this to me. She said, do something with it. And
Was
so
that a telegram you just showed us? Was that a Western Union telegram?
that's a Western Union telegram.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it's from um,
Show it
it's,
again, Patty.
it's from my dad to my mother. They're like little love letters that they wrote to each other.
Show it again. Show it again.
We're going to get a close up of it.
Oh,
What
wait.
year is it from? Do you know?
I'm looking, I lost it. Here's another one. This is from, it just has, here, this is another one. It's hard to see the year.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
And then this one here, I have so many advertisements from like the 30s and 40s and 50s, and just photos from when my dad and Murray were in the army in Europe. So that was in the mid 40s. That's what happens. Are you there? Hello? Hi. Oh, I don't know. All right. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sitting here. Hello. Hi. I could keep talking. I just don't know what to say. I need a question. Take my wife, please. I can hear the delay. I think it's because we're on the phone. So I don't know. Anyway, everybody, I'm not sure what to do. Oops, here they are. Okay, bye, David.
Yeah, there was a big,
Oh, that's so funny.
it shut off everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, everybody could hear me.
Oh, yeah, it will continue.
And then my friend David called me to tell me everybody could hear me.
Oh, yeah, I thought that yeah, but it shut off everything. There was a big lightning strike outside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
that's a message. That's a message from the universe.
all right. So, put again, hon, where they could get the book.
I posted the link twice, and I'm gonna post it.
Oh.
Share. I got a screenshot of the book. I got the link.
Mm-hmm.
And before it looks like you're going to be leaving again because of the whatever, I just really want to thank you for like doing this for me and promoting my book and loving the Brickman and living in the Catskills, like making it vibrant. So I just thank you.
Thank you so
yeah,
much for
thank you
joining
for
us,
coming
Patty.
on.
And we will post the link as soon as we log off, and you guys will be able to purchase
Thank
it.
you.
Those
Thank
of
you.
you that haven't already been able to do so.
And I just want to give a shout out to my friend David, who is the one who he's listening, and he's the one that planted the seed, and then help the tree grow, and then help me trim the tree at the end. So we're still working on it.
Awesome.
Love
Hello,
that.
David. Thank you for coming on. And it looks like it's getting dangerous here, so we're gonna say goodbye.
Yes.
We'll see you soon. If you come
Thank
up this way,
you.
let us know.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you. It was great to see you.
Great to see you.
Yeah, we're old friends. I mean,
Yes. Say hello to Joanne.
I absolutely will. It was great.
Okay.
Hopefully, when I come up there, or if you ever come down to Asheville, let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Patty.
Okay, we're gonna say goodbye. The thing went off twice, and we're just gonna say love, peace, and harmony. And we'll see you when we get back from wherever we're going.
From vacation.
Vacation. Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.